Liz, it is fantastic to see you.
Nice to see you too.
We've been seeing the countdown on LNN, we've seen it on your personal profiles for the last 80 days, and there's been a lot of speculation. What is she launching? What's this countdown about? What are we putting into the market? So now we have you here. Tell us.
Yes, so, at the network, we have nearly 2,000 members. So we've been sending out newsletters and asking people to guess. And we'd hear things like, oh, Liz, you're launching your own media station. That was cool.
Entrepreneurship 101.
I know, right? A fellowship program, a makeup line, a hairline. I had a film or a documentary. So there's been all sorts of things. Of course, there are people who also mentioned a book. So I'm really excited that it's out now. The cat is out of the bag. I feel really excited. I can't believe the journey is over, or we've finally launched it.
So many years ago, when you were both still in, the media business, if you'd said that you're going to write a book eventually, I probably wouldn't have put money down on that. But you did, in the middle of a pandemic. So let's start there. Why write a book and why focus on these stories?
Okay. I'm very strong on mentorship. And last year, August 17th, 2019, I launched something called the Lizz Ntonjira Network. It's a network where we provide a platform for young people to engage, to be coached, to train, and we do have a mentorship program. And it hit me, oh, wow, we're going to clock 1 year in August 2020. And my DMs are constantly full of, people asking questions. Some ask about mentorship, others ask for advice. Some of the advice they ask for or they seek is something I don't have the expertise to give. And I feel just based on that, there was a need for people to hear stories from other people. And I've come to learn in my mentorship journey that my journey might not resonate with other people. So what can we do to ensure that somebody from Bungoma reading something can resonate with somebody from Lesotho, for instance, or Sierra Leone? I just wanted to showcase to young Africans that we might be divided by boundaries, but our stories and circumstances are very similar.
And to a large extent, that's one of the main themes that just keeps on going through the book when I was reading it, because you see these stories of individuals coming out and saying, I was facing this challenge. I had a fairly humble background, but I worked through it. The former Rwandan transport minister, for example, his story is particularly interesting because he gets to a point where he says, I went through this entire education program, formal education, do my bachelor's degree, do my master's, and then at 30, I'm told, okay, now you're the transport minister in Rwanda. Someone believes in you, but that recurring problem of you think, man, am I really supposed to be here? That keeps coming back up in every single story.
Yeah, and his story is particularly very encouraging because he stepped back and told himself, if other people can see this potential, then so should I. And he reminded himself of his President Kagame, having led a liberation at 33 years old. And he told himself, if he believes I can, then I can do it. And sometimes as young people, we might doubt ourselves, but I feel like we have so much potential. It's just the self-doubt. And a lot of times fear comes dressed as caution. And I think one of the other themes when I was doing all these interviews, irrespective of it's somebody from Angola, it's somebody from Kenya, somebody from Nigeria, I also wanted to showcase the impact that parents have on children. 85% of the people that I interviewed kept saying, I needed to be a doctor, engineer, or lawyer, because that is what is integrated exactly in their minds. And you can just feel that some of them felt they missed doing medicine by 1 point. Yeah. And it really, really stressed them out, or they felt like failures. But they didn't sit down and dwell on that. They came out of it to figure out what else can I do. And I felt like it's a perfect tool, learning tool for parents as well, and not just young people. Parents to see that there's a lot of diversification in terms of careers that young people can explore nowadays.
One of the fascinating stories here, because when I first read the book, my initial assumptions going into it was, okay, we're talking about young people in Africa, so your usual 20s to mid-30s crowd. But you've got someone as young as 9.
Yes.
In this book.
Yes.
Tell me her story.
The average age of all the people featured is 27. And the reason I featured her at 9 years old is because I really wanted us to see that you can make an impact at whatever age. You don't have to get to 18 to 20 when you're done with your technical university or your other studies to feel like, oh, now I'm ready and equipped to make an impact.
There's a fairly broad range of experiences you brought together for this particular book. And on one end, you've got a 9-year-old Nigerian social entrepreneur. On the other end of the scale, you've got former civil servants well into their 50s now, who are instrumental in setting up the ICT policies that you and I enjoy, and millions of other Kenyans now enjoy as well. Dr. Bitanga Ndemo, you've got Dr. Githinji Gitahi, who turned 50 the other day, with vast experience in healthcare policy. Why bring in that segment of the population into a story that's essentially about young people?
Because I believe in the power of passing the baton. And I feel as young people, we need to appreciate the experiences, learnings, failures of people who've been in that journey before us.
One of the things that, stepping away from the stories, as fascinating as they are, is you're stepping into an industry, at least within the Kenyan context, where more often than not, one, the book publishing industry is pretty hostile to this kind of content, number one. Number two, this is also a country that doesn't have a very strong culture of respect for intellectual property. We've probably seen it, virtually everywhere. Go into a WhatsApp group and someone has downloaded a PDF of some random book and they're busy sharing it. It's essentially piracy, for lack of a better word. So when you went into this project, how did you deal with those problems?
So first of all, before getting into this project, I did my groundwork and research on publishing for a full year. And, I looked at the pros and cons of self-publishing and having a publisher, and I decided to go with self-publishing because then I have editorial control. I can market my book as I see fit. And really because of the groundwork, our industry, like you say, doesn't appreciate this kind of books. And I spoke to quite a number of publishers and they said, oh, well, yes, it might take 2 to 5 years to publish it. I've done this book.
You've put in all the work.
In less than 6 months. And they told me they would take 2 to 5 years to publish.
Why?
Because they take what sells for them is more textbook kind of books. So we don't have many publishers that, focus on such motivational.
So they fall into the trap of, this is what I know and this is what I'm comfortable with.
Yes.
So I'm not moving out of this space.
Yes. So having a lot of conversations with them is, yes, you're the author, but you'll take like 7 to 15% after doing all the work.
Sorry, let's clarify this.
Yes.
You've come up with the idea. Mm-hmm. You've put in the work. You found these people. You've spoken to them. You've gathered the material. You've put in the work, the late nights, the early mornings, all of that. And then at the end of all this work, I tell you, as the originator of the content, as a person who's brought together all these interesting stories, 7%.
Yep.
That's your final take.
Yeah.
That's theft.
Yeah, it's really, really unfortunate. And that's why we see more and more people self-publishing. And I think it's been a really fantastic journey because when I got in, I knew which editor I'm going to use, which revised editor I'm going to use, which book designers I'm going to use, or which designers I'm going to use. Like I had played it all in my mind, like everything was structured. So execution was really easy. Before I got in, speaking to the different publishers, finding out their terms and conditions, speaking about the distribution strategy, how that would look like. And I decided to actually do the distribution by myself. So myself and my team have actually set up youthcan.africa, where it's an e-commerce platform for buying the book. So you just go in, put in how many copies you want, check out, and it will be shipped to you. Yeah.
Anywhere in Africa.
Anywhere in the world. yeah, anywhere in the world.
And all of this is entirely done here in Kenya.
Everything is
It's Kenyan talent,
Kenyan
hardware,
made.
Kenyan businesses.
Yes.
Because people will say, yeah, but you're dealing with the digital generation. Are you ever going to get into the digital space and provide this perhaps on Amazon Kindle?
Maybe a bit later. I really want the book to be hard copy just because of what you said about piracy, about people not respecting copyright, intellectual property. So this book is only available hard copy within the first year. It will also be translated into, hopefully next year, into French, Portuguese, and Swahili. I'm really looking forward to that.
The thing about the diversity of the people you interviewed, because when I read it, there were faces and names that I did know, but the vast majority were entirely new to me. It wasn't, you'd move from, okay, I know Professor Bitangendemo, yes, I know Dr. Njigitahi, yes, I know Jidkali Irakoze, but a lot of these other individuals, I have no idea who they are. But it's important to pick those stories because we avoid that trap of going to the same old people over and over again and essentially limiting the diversity that is present across Africa.
Absolutely. I was extremely intentional about that. And that's why I researched the individuals for about 2.5 months, because I wanted to make sure that we hear the voices of the people who ordinarily make a lot of sacrifices, make a lot of changes at the community level in the countries that they're in, but we never hear about them because unfortunately our media, and when I say our, it transcends not only Kenya, but different parts of Africa, focuses on the same individuals over and over and over again. I want us to get into the habit of reaching out to people that we don't necessarily reach out to, telling, having a platform for them to share their stories, to encourage and empower others. And the diversity comes in various ways. So in the different countries, the different religions, persons with disability, people with diverse backgrounds, religions, beliefs.
All right, so moving forward, stories from 29 women, 21 men. What happens in version 2 of this story? Because for me, that's a curious part here, because these stories are fascinating, but we both know there's so many more out there.
Very many more.
So what happens next?
Perhaps there's a volume 2, volume 3, volume 4.
Volume 10.
Yes, volume 10 in different languages. Maybe at some point we'll do films about it. Maybe at some point we'll have podcasts about it. So there's an avalanche of different diverse opportunities and platforms and channels that we can continue this conversation. Yeah.
And this all ties back into the LNN network as well.
When I started LNN, to be honest, this whole thing is really a passion project. A lot of times, or the few people that knew what I was working on were candidly telling me, where do you get the time?
No, it's the same question I asked you.
Yes.
Because originally when you said, I've been writing a book, middle of a pandemic, you've got a very intensive job, you're a parent, where's the time? I
know. I think sleep has really suffered. I tend to live my life according to so many quotes that I see. And I remember seeing this quote that said, sleep is the cousin of death.
We shall deal with you later.
Yeah, but sleep has really suffered. But I also think it's the prioritization and the planning of it. And when you're really, really passionate about something, you have the self-drive to do it. Nobody's forcing you to do it. Nobody's forcing you to think. Nobody's forcing you to meet a particular deadline. You've set all these things for yourself. So for me, it aligns so greatly with my vision, my mission, my core values, my goals. And just having it, everything, just all these pieces of the puzzle come together has been fantastic, and how it sort of aligns with the network, because proceeds of this book, part of the proceeds from the book go to ensuring that the network is sustainable.
Liz, asante sana.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.